The combination watch with something spacey is often striking, because at the end, time is something cosmic and mysterious. We measure time to measure distances and vice versa, things that seem very clear, but from a cosmic perspective they're not. Christopher Ward now has announced its second watch with a Moonphase, and this time all out. The C1 Moonphase makes that complication the dominant element of the watch. Let's begin with the basic specifications. We have an automatic timepiece with a case diameter of 40.5 mm, a length lug to lug of 47.9, height 13.3 and a lug width of 20 mm. The watch has a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating on both sides and is waterproof up to 30 meters. It is powered by an Sellita SW200 with an in-house module, and this combination Christopher Ward calls caliber JJ04. The watch is available either on leather or on a metal bracelet, and the price for the latter version is indicated with €2,655, including VAT, or $2,475 without VAT. So, as we see, the Moonphase here isn't that small cut out on 6, it's a large window on the upper half of that roomy dial. The dial itself is made of aventurine, a glass with particles of copper oxide included, and these particles give us the impression of a night sky in the wild. Due to the manufacturing process, every dial is unique, and fortunately Christopher Ward has opted for a minimum of decoration and branding. So no logo, no name, no indices, only the Swiss made. We have large sword type hands that provide a good legibility. People will now comment that they find the absence of indices weird and unprecise, but allow me one word against that. You get used to these dials very quickly, and then you can tell in a second if it's 3:15 or 3:16. Something like minute 22 will be a bit harder, but let's be honest, such a watch is at the end a tool and also a piece of jewelry. Now to the moon. Actually, there are two moon discs inside, made of globolite. That's an artificial mixture of ceramic with superluminova, meaning, yes, in darkness it shines. The moon's surface is printed on these discs, which are connected to the hour hand so that you see constant motion. If the watch had an endless power reserve, the Moonphase would keep its accuracy for 128 years. Dial and Moonphase sit in a new case that Christopher Ward calls the Light Catcher Case trademark, which I find slightly cheesy, but alright, it comes with that dominant look that is typical for the brand, with a combination of brushing and high polished surfaces and the new logo on the crown. By the way, here you see very good the effect of that box-shaped sapphire really adds something to the entire ensemble. It's a bit like that sci-fi universe for the wrist, very nice. And in these close-ups you see that kind of printing grid, but keep in mind that these are super large images. You will never see that moon on your wrist on that scale. So all perfect here? No, there is no real perfection on this planet, I'm afraid, and so I have tiny pieces of criticism. When you want a clear dial with little distraction and you throw away brand name, logo, name of the watch, jewels, everything, why do you keep then that Swiss made? It's not really important. You could write it in capital letters into the manual, on the box or on Christopher Ward's forehead. Next point is the water resistance. That seems a bit vintage and people will criticize that. I personally, as a collector of new and vintage watches, could tolerate it because we're in the genre dress watch and there's very little water on the moon. Next point is the size. Dress watch with 40.5 is in my opinion too bulky, but I get the idea. The moon has room, also the aventurine, but there is of course a danger of getting fed up with such a dominant watch. Last point, no criticism, only a comment. We're now far away from these typical Christopher Ward prices around the 1,000 mark. Now we're in the region 2,500, which is clearly another mountain. I could imagine that it's expensive to produce such a watch with the dial, the lunar module, etc. So this price might be justified, but it could prevent that the watch will be that huge hit like the 12. Because people could think, do I want to spend that kind of money on a watch? That could be too special for everyday use. But overall, in my opinion, the C1 Moonphase takes this complication to the next level and is clearly an enrichment. The watch can be pre-ordered now and delivery then will take place in December. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and see you next Monday to watch it.